Personally, myself, like as women's officer, I'm not like responsible for women coming to me and being like, hey, this has happened, that sort of thing, because I'm not trained in that sort of thing. I'm just there to kind of use tools to kind of show women where to go in those sort of situations. So when I first started my role back in Freshers in October, I went and spoke to venues training, and I did some training with the Ask for Angela scheme that we've got. I've also kind of got quite a big presence on social media with showing links of where to go with reporting systems and things like that. With more, I'm not like a welfare officer in that sort of sense, like, or trained in SU advice. So I'd point people in the general direction of where they need to go and make sure that women feel supported, essentially.
And this has been identified as an issue nationwide currently. Would you say sexual violence is an issue at Essex University?
The It Ends Now campaign that kind of shows that there was a big backlog of sexual assault and stuff, and women are only just starting to kind of be like, look, listen to me, this is happening, this is a big problem here. It's a big problem, and I think there's a big problem with low-level harassment, which some people may not regard or perceive to be sexual harassment, for example, in more social contexts and that sort of thing.
And are there any ideas you think that SU could implement to help combat this issue?
I think the main thing, there's a difference with different ways you can persecute or support people. Like, you can punish people who are the perpetrators of sexual violence, and you can support the people who are the victims of it. And I think I'm not entirely sure what strategies they could go down, but I think it's just as important to support victims as well as kind of create some sort of scheme to punish the people, or kind of don't make it a problem before it starts, if you know what I mean.
And some students that I've been speaking to are a bit confused about the policies. Do you think there could be an issue with communication among the university and what the students know?
Obviously, I only reach a certain audience. I am the women's representative, but I'm not going to reach, you know, half the student population, because that's just near enough impossible without like proper tools and really going at it at a full-time sort of thing. Yeah, I do think there does need to be a better communication, personally, because so many women, unless you've been in that situation before, don't really know where to go. So, yeah, I think communication is a big thing here in terms of actually getting rid of the problem.
And in my research, I found that some students were unsatisfied with the way their cases were handled by the university. What would you have to say to those students? Like, what could they do next?
Well, that's really unfortunate that they've not had the best experience in terms of sorting it out. It's kind of difficult because from a sociological perspective as well, there's a lot of kind of ingrained behaviours there and expectations of victims, as well as, like, not victim blaming as such, but you know, without evidence, it's very hard to take things forward. So there does need to be more of support in an emotional sense, as well as like actually physically doing things as well. I think that's important.
And in my research, through Freedom of Information requests, I found that 89% of students found guilty of sexual assault or harassment were allowed to continue their studies and remain on campus. What would you, first of all, as a part-time officer, respond to that?
I think that's ridiculous that people think they can get away with this sort of behaviour. It's difficult because, like, personally, you know, as a feminist, I'm like, absolutely unacceptable. They should not be able to be on this campus. If you're making this campus unsafe for somebody else, they shouldn't be here. However, I don't know the university's reasonings behind this and why they've been allowed to continue their studies. Again, it could be some sort of a reflection of social life and the way things are. In terms of my response, if I was in charge of everything, I wouldn't let these people back on campus. But at the end of the day, I guess the university is like a money-making sort of thing, and it's difficult to kind of grasp the reasons why they're allowed to stay on the campus, I guess.